Married for 10 years. 10 years of a fraud. Wife and I are in mid-30 and my story start like this. I started dating her 10 years ago. Found her in the most inhumane ways possible with a baby on her arms. I fell in love not with my actual wife but with the baby. It was 1 year old, not even walking yet. I decided that I need to help them at first. Every day I felt it more and more. I just got more attached to the baby and my wife during that time. I took care of everything and took that babe as my own. I got no kids at that time. That little girl made me her dad, and that made me see her mom in a more romantic way. What could have happened? A single mom with a baby that she can't take care of on her own. I was the charming prince to save them. We dated for almost 2 years before I decided to properly propose to her. Went to her parents, brought the ring thinking I need the parents' blessing. Worked for 1 extra year to give the woman I love the wedding she deserves. In my heart, everything was great. I was so happy, and so my wife and the baby girl. I decided to send her back to school, 'cause you know, life sometimes is unfair. I need to make sure they were okay. In my story, life was nothing but fair, and my wife is the one that ended up letting me down. I guess it happened. We got married as promised. She eventually became a nurse. I'm proud to say that she did it on her own. I never intended to make her feel like she owed me anything. We lived a happy life, or that what I thought, for the next 8 years with ups and downs, just like any other marriage. My second son came to be an amazing boy. Everything was great. I was going crazy. It was too much happiness. I doubted many times it was true. We enjoyed our marriage until the day I checked her phone and everything went downhill. She was always talking to random man the estimable way while I worked 12 hours daily for her accomplishments, and so she could finish nursing school while saving for our wedding. The time came, I need to confront her. Well, she denied everything with proof in my hand. Hotel location, messages, all while we were married. She had the audacity to say it was all for romance. The romance she never had with me, and that was all just talk, nothing physical, even though the messages say a totally different thing. At the point, there only one thing I could do is to cover my eyes and play stupid. While been right for my family, I got depressed to the point of getting close to lost my job, and everything I feel like writing about it helped me somehow. I need an advice. What do I need to do? She keep telling me to try, but I feel if there are no consequences, she will lose respect for me. Even though I think she never really got one, not even a particle of respect for me at all. She did what she did after all my sacrifice. An advice from someone will be appreciated. Thanks. Redditor's reactions. Next story after. Redditor 1. Bro, seek a lawyer and file for divorce. Also, take this to our relationship advice. You'll get more traction there. Redditor follow-up. Something tells me he won't. He likely will not divorce her because of the baby anyways. Good luck, brother. Redditor 2. This story was so hard to read. So you saw a woman that was a charity case. Didn't even really like her in the beginning, and Anoy wanted to help the baby and don't think she's hot, and she feels like she owes you going to school because she knows you going to school because she knows you don't find her pretty and only took her in because you felt sorry for her. Now you. Kamal Payne, she equally doesn't like you and flirts with other guys that find her actually attractive. What a surprise. Sure, cheating is wrong, no doubt about it, but what were you expecting? That love arises out of her, knowing that you only pitied her from the beginning, and say you are the attractive one on the relationship. Your relationship is a farce. It was one from the beginning, and you started it. Check if the child is yours and end the relationship. You clearly both don't love each other and never have as far as I understand this post, and you'd bought better off without each other on the long run. Stop wasting the time of both of you. Answer. I agree. Thanks for the support. I'm just trying to let out my feelings. Redditor 3. She already doesn't have respect for you. It's time to think of yourself and leave her. She used you. Do you want rest of your life this way? Story 2. Oops husband thinks she baby-traped him. New update. My husband, M35, and I, F32, have been married for 7 years. He lived next door and we just clicked. It was like a fairy tale. One thing I have always thought made our marriage so strong was our friendship with each other and our trust in one another, although now my husband seems to think otherwise. Recently, my husband found out that his friend Jeff's M34 has been baby trapped. Basically, Jeff's wife, 32, stopped taking the pill and fell pregnant a few months into their relationship and only came clean after the wedding. Jeff came from a very conservative family, which his wife knew, and so he felt obligated to marry her after the pregnancy. Unfortunately, he also now feels obligated to stay regardless of the clearly messed up dynamic because he feels that he has made a vow and will stick by his wife and child. My husband, for some reason, has been really rattled by this. I am currently 4 months pregnant with our first, and my husband asked me yesterday if I was trying to baby trap him. I first laughed because I honestly thought it was a joke. He was dead serious and doubled down. So I told him that we have already been married for 7 years and a baby was not going to trap him any more than he already is. My husband did not like that answer and said that there was no time limit on baby trapping and that my intentions were clearly not pure given how I was acting as if his concerns were a joke. He said he had trusted me in the past, but me laughing in his face gave him no reason to trust me now. I did not really know what he wanted or how I was meant to respond, and I said we should talk about this in the morning. Today I woke up and my husband was gone, but I did have a nasty text from his brother, 128, saying that I had forced my husband into this pregnancy, despite it having been a joint decision. My husband is Maya and not responding to calls or texts, and now I am wondering how on earth to go forward. Any advice is appreciated. The update. Not sure if I am allowed to post in here again, but I wanted to quickly update everyone who was kind enough to give me some advice. I didn't respond to anyone because my post was locked quite quickly, but I have read every single comment and message. I am very grateful. I realized while I was reading the comments that everyone was right. I wasn't angry enough. My husband had insulted me and our marriage in a very hurtful way, and it just didn't really register for a while. I was so confused and upset that it didn't occur to me to be angry, but I think everything just needed to sink in. In the meantime, I called my best friend, F31, who has been such a rock in my life. She came over with some chocolate and was furious when she heard. She called her husband, M34, to the house after I had gotten everything out of my system. He is a family lawyer, and he said that he would happily represent me if I wanted to go through with a divorce. This man is a saint and will draw up divorce papers on Monday. My mill, F66, showed up with my husband in the car not long after my best friend's husband arrived, and she practically dragged him to the door. My mill said that he had showed up at theirs late last night saying that he was certain that I was using the baby to trap him. Fortunately, my mile is a smart woman and absolutely tore him a new one before dragging him to the house today to apologize. My worm of a husband did not look me in the eye the entire time, but said that he was scared about becoming a dad and projected his fears onto me. He said he wasn't sure if he was ready for that kind of commitment, but he will step up, as if he is some kind of hero. I called him a coward and told him that he should stay with his parents until I am ready to talk to him. I didn't want to say anything about the divorce papers because I didn't know what his reaction would be, but he will find out soon enough. I also showed my mile the text from my bile, and her face was like a storm cloud. I don't know what will happen there, but I am sure it will be bad. For now, I am exhausted and just want to curl up and cry. My best friend has said she'll spend the night with me and we can watch silly movies. I have also made an appointment with a therapist for next week, but for now, I just need to rest. I am exhausted and devastated that my marriage has come crumbling down. Sorry for the sad ending. Everyone, new updated. Thank you to everyone for all the messages and kind pieces of advice. I have received so many requests for an update, so I thought I would quickly post and let you all know how I am doing. Overall, everything has settled a little bit. In good news, I had a scan with the doctor. My mile attended with me, and the baby is happy and healthy. I finally found out the gender. I am having a little girl. I am over the moon. My mile was a gem and was so touched that I had included her in the scan. She is very excited to be a granny. On that note, my meal organized a family lunch a couple of days after the scan. I was a little reluctant, but I knew that she had good intentions and wouldn't do anything to make matters worse. When I arrived, my husband and Bill were there, along with my file. 70 and Mill. It was quite awkward until my Mile asked if anyone had anything to say. My Bile spoke first and apologized for his awful text, saying that he was swept up in the moment and wanted to support his brother. I explained how hurtful it had been to receive such a nasty and vindictive message, and that he knew as well as anyone that my husband and I had been trying for almost a year. He hung his head and mumbled something. That was pretty much the last I heard out of him for the afternoon. Next, my Mile looked quite pointedly at my husband, but he actively avoided anyone's eyes. Eventually, she spoke up and announced that my husband would no longer be welcome to stay in their house. She said that she was ashamed to have her son behave the way that he has, and that she would prefer to make space for her granddaughter rather than have some lowlife hanging around. My husband had opened up his mouth to say something earlier, but his eyes lit up when she said granddaughter. My husband had always wanted a girl, and he was suddenly in tears saying that he was so pleased to hear the gender. My husband was suddenly wanting to touch my belly and asked if he could come home and paint the nursery. I told him in no uncertain terms that he was not welcome and that he had destroyed any trust I had in him. I told him that if I took him back, I would be worried that he would disappear at any kind of big news and that I couldn't have someone at my side who balked at the first chance. He asked me if I was telling him it was over, and I point blank told him that I had engaged a lawyer. My husband was kind of frantic, but I felt so calm, like someone had put a blanket over me in the situation. Normally, I am a big crier, but I felt so removed from everything. My husband said that this was not fair. He had shown a little bit of panic, and suddenly, I am throwing away our life and denying him his daughter. My file reminded him that this is the same baby he felt trapped by no more than 2 weeks ago. My husband said it was a mistake and he was stressed, but my Mile asked him how he thought I felt. She asked him to imagine being so vulnerable and giving up your body to grow a family, and suddenly the one person you trust is accusing you of terrible things. He said it was a mistake and he projected his fears onto me. I told my husband that I felt so broken when he left because I had all these dreams of a beautiful family which came crashing down in an instant. My husband said that he wanted those things with me, and he wanted our baby girl, but that he let the panic overwhelm him. I told him that wasn't a good enough excuse for what he put me through, and that he certainly didn't seem panicked when his mom had to drag him to my door to apologize. He didn't have much of an answer other than to say that he was ready now and wanted our girl. In all of this, in all the times he told me he wanted me and our baby, he never once apologized properly. After a very, very long discussion, the lunch wrapped up and my Mile stood by what she had said about my husband not being welcome. He asked again if he could come home with me, and I told him that it was my house. I owned the house before we married, and it was going to be a safe space for me. That is to say, he is not welcome. As far as I know, he is staying at some hotel. Finally, he was served divorce papers at work on Friday. My bestie's husband drafted them earlier, but I wanted to wait until I had thought it all through. I received a few missed calls and crying voicemails asking if I was really throwing away our family, but I did not respond. He even took a crying selfie sitting in his car, which my bestie laughed at quite a bit. My Mal called me when she heard and told me that I am making the right decision. She said she never wanted my marriage to end this way or for her son to be so callous, but she said she is here for my baby and I, and that we will always be family. She even tried to apologize on my husband's behalf, but I told her that was not necessary. At the end of the day, his actions are his to own. My best friend has been around all weekend, and we went baby clothes shopping for a little bit of sunshine in all of this. She has been such a rock, and her husband has helped so much with the process. I don't know what will happen next, but I feel much calmer and like I am making the right decision. I will update again if anything major or exciting happens, but for now, I just want to get through all of this and hopefully come out with a beautiful baby girl. Wish us luck. Story 3. She cheated on me. It messed me up more than I can say. I don't know really where to start. I guess I can start on August 2020. Something was wrong with our phones. We had to switch for some reason or another. I see a lot of displaced text message between her and a coworker, let's just call him Bill, such as her saying, "Are you home?" Her sending him circus coupons for the circus. We'd never discussed going to anything like that. But the weird part, there were no replies from him. At the time, I didn't feel it was necessary to go through the rest of her phone, but I did confront her about it. She just chalked up as, "Oh, I have to know where he is, and he's got kids, so thought it was nice for me to send that." That was the end of that. Fast forward a few weeks later, I catch COVID, one of the worst times of my life. 2 weeks of isolation, with no one around me, not able to talk to my son. At least I have my wife to comfort me through it, right? Wrong. I couldn't have been more wrong, mind you. We live in the same house, and I texted or spoke to her 3 times during that time. There was a moment where I had to confront her about it. It was weird. A wife not comforting or at least engaging with her husband, who, mind you, at the time, COVID was awful. The physical pain I was going through was excruciating, trying to keep fluids in my body. Cold sweats causing my body to ache. All I wanted was my wife to at least text me or talk to me. I'd go 2 days without hearing from her. Her mom, even at one point, was concerned about my health and well-being. "She's acting weird," she says. "Make sure you keep listening to your intuition." Fast forward to the day I seen it, caught it, heard it. New Year's Eve of 2022, she gets off work, comes home, lays down, and sleeps and watching my son, and he has her phone watching my son, and he has her phone watching YouTube videos and whatnot. He comes to me and hands me the phone. A text message had come through. I check it, and it's from Bill. Hey, it made me curious. I went through the conversations, and there was nothing there. It was like bits and pieces had been deleted. I checked the deleted section. Over 500 deleted voice messages. I recover all of them. I found them there. It was the smoking gun. "I want your mouth wrapped around my DD again. I'd love to bite." I freaked out. I don't know what to do. I didn't want to hear the rest. Her mom right there, her grandma right there, her grandma right there. Her mom knew what I had found without saying anything. She says, "Wake her up." She takes my son outside. I go wake her up and she's surprised. I'm upset, livid. She tells me it was just a one-time thing, but that was bullpoop. She's been having an affair the last 9 months. I was broken. I left. What it did to me mentally was what was worse. The aftermath and fallout was awful. I was gaslighted into it being my fault. I told his wife, and things got much worse from there. I want to go over everything, but this is long already. Was I perfect? No, but I did nothing to deserve that. I have so many more scars from this. Story 4. She 20 lost her virginity while we were taking a break. Throwaway, first-time poster, English, not first language. Told her at the end. Blah blah. I am 21. We've been together for 4 years. At the beginning, like all teenagers do, we also fooled around. She was genuinely turned on and wanted to do stuff, but we never got to penetration. We were both virgin, and to her, virginity was always the best thing she can give me. It's the only thing she can give only to me in the whole life, and to be honest, that's why E. Toom 20 one didn't push for it at all and wanted to take her pace. Around 2.5 years ago, things started to cool down. She no longer wanted to do it, referring to touching and oral, as often, and a year ago, she started pushing away even though I would ask twice a month when I was stimuli frustrated. I really loved her, and I still do, and I think she is smart, intelligent, and beautiful, and that's why that wasn't a deal breaker for me. 2 weeks after our 4 years mark, she said she felt trapped and that she wanted to take a little break from our relationship. I was crushed because I didn't see this coming at all. Her trap definition was that she felt bad going to concerts and doing stuff without inviting me, and to be honest, I always encouraged her to go with her girlfriends and have fun. I have a feeling she trapped herself. I think she just wanted to take a break and couldn't come up with a better reason, or the real reason was offending to me, or she just lost attraction, although she denied it. We talked it through, and we decided that we will take a break and she will call me once the break is over. She was supposed to move in with me in May. It took a toll on me. I performed bad at my work, and I was distant from my family. I was crushed, and I hoped she would come back and that we would cry together. agree it was a mistake, and move on. Well, after around 3 weeks, she messaged me and said she wanted to talk. I was so excited and I invited her to my house. When she arrived shortly after, she basically broke down crying, saying she met a guy, saying she met a guy, 2 weeks ago, and that after 3 days they slept together. She said she tried to connect with him, but it wasn't nearly as fun as with me, and that she wasn't sure why she wanted to take a break from me in the first place. Now, I consider myself 7, 8 and 8. I am tall and work out semi-regularly. She assured me that it wasn't my looks. She said she wanted us to be together again and that she would do anything to earn back my trust and make me happy. The guy she slept with was 10'10" and a lot of muscle, although I didn't know him or anything about him. This happened yesterday. I am broken. I couldn't come up with words and just said it's gonna be okay, and later politely asked her to leave so I have time and space to think. I can't help it but feel like a backup plan. She sacrificed our 4 years together and basically made me a fool for waiting for time and thinking that I am something special for her. It bothers me so much that she was ready to duck some guy, less than a week after we broke up. Even if we get back together, am I supposed to have time with her now or what? I will provide more information if needed, but I am really struggling for some advice on what to do. Update. She 20 feet lost her virginity while we were taking a break. Hey guys, first of all, thank you all so much for your responses. It really did affect me. So, long story short, 3 days ago, I broke up with her for good. Now, you guys might not agree with the way I did it, but I did not want to have revenge time with her, hurt her ego. Even though I am sad and disappointed, at the same time, I understand she wanted to see other options and I respect she didn't outright cheat on me. That being said, I am also not a backup plan and I deserve to be someone's first plan, someone that will make love with me and not consider it a godly gift to me. I didn't see her anymore and I finished it with a message. Here's a translated version. Hey, Namda, first of all, I don't want to hold you in suspense, so yes, this is my final breakup message. I took some days to think about it, and I realized that if we did continue where we left off, that the other guy would be in my head non-stop, and I would always be paranoid of you doing it. Again, when you get bored of me. I understand we were, and still are, young when we started our relationship and that you wanted to explore other options and gain experience. Sadly, in that process you lost my trust and hurt me greatly. I respect you wanted to take a break instead of cheating on me, but that still doesn't make it justifiable. I wanted to thank you for all those years and I wanted to apologize for any wrongs I did to you. I want you to know that I am not mad or sad and that my head is the right place. I hope that going forward you will be okay too, and please don't punish yourself for what you did. Goodbye, Al. The message was supposed to be stronger and stuff, but I realized I am already getting over it and that I no longer see the point of putting more effort and thought into it. She replied with an equally long message saying she is sorry, blah, blah, blah. So, thank you guys for opening my eyes. If it weren't for you, I am almost certain that I would accept her back. So, yeah, until next time.